evening and welcome back inside Blackie's Bulldog Tavern. Tristan Hobbs, head coach Marty Fine, another edition of the Marty Fine Coaches Show here on NBC Front Row of the Bryant Sports Network and ON 1240. Coach Fine, the Bulldogs come up short on Saturday, 27-24 out in Bozeman, Montana. We'll start things off with your thoughts on how the game went for your team against the Bobcats.
Before we get to that part, let's talk about the trip.
Yeah,
just
okay.
for a minute.
I was going to go second, but we can go first.
Well, let's start with trip, build up the game, and then let's go like in a consecutive order, some kind of order, something with order to it, Tristan.
Got it.
Anyway, we left, we flew, we got there, we got out of the plane.
And it all went well. That was good so far.
We got out of the plane and you looked around and it was spectacular. We almost couldn't get the kids to get on the buses. They had the cameras and the phones, and it was a beautiful place. I mean, really spectacular in so many ways. For kids from the East Coast to go across the country, be in that circumstance, be in that setting, land on a Thursday afternoon, it was really, really something. And then on Friday, we took them to the Museum of the Rockies, which I don't know how much you walked through it, but it was unbelievable.
Really nice.
Dinosaur bones and cars and all kinds of neat things for the kids.
They had the largest T-Rex there. I didn't know that in the country.
In the country?
Yeah.
Who knew? In Bozeman, Montana. What a neat little town.
It was awesome.
Really awesome. And then we went up and we went into the mountains, and there was a pavilion there, and we had the kids have a box lunch, and everybody got a little sandwich and a piece of fruit. And I thought, these kids are going to hide right in this little pavilion, and they're not going to take a step. They're looking around like they're about to get eaten by a wildebeest. And they started running through the mountains and going on trail hikes, and we couldn't get it back. They had more fun and were more excited about the differences. And, a kid from Florida that comes up here, they've never seen a mountain like this, and reservoirs and streams and springs and wild animals. There was a group of kids walking through the forest, and they came running back. Coach, you'll never guess what happened. Some guy with a bow and arrow just shot an elk. And what are you talking about? Yeah, he's up there. He's going to gut the thing. Well, we'll go on the buses now. We don't need to be around gutting. But for a lot of our kids, they've never been in those circumstances at all. And the people of the place were terrific to us. I mean, it was really a good experience for our kids. We talk about our kids wanting to go travel internationally, and the world is getting smaller. But a lot of our kids haven't seen our own country yet. And I've been fortunate to coach a lot of places, but this was really a neat thing and a special trip. And then Saturday we played the game.
So you were surprised that your kids enjoyed the woods so much.
I was. There was a handful that wouldn't venture out farther than a picnic table, but most of them, probably 55 out of the 60, took off and really had a great.
They really took off.
They did. Well, only one clod almost fell into the lake. Everybody else was safe and sound, and their athleticism prevailed. That was you.
That was me.
That was you. Other than that, everybody was safe and had a great time and a great trip. But really, I was shocked. We had kids come up to us, Coach, I'm moving to Montana when I graduate. I'm going to find a job out in Montana. I'm going to ask all kinds of cultural questions, really interacted with the local community in a great way. And I thought the community really enjoyed having us there as well. I thought it was really a positive thing.
One thing before they get to the game, it was Friday night, they had a reception at a hotel for the friends, family, alumni. Robin Ward put it on. You get to speak to the 35 or 40 people that were there for Bryant University, which was outstanding to be in Bozeman, Montana, and had that much support. A really nice thing that they put on there.
Well, I thought it was terrific. We had some former players show up, Matt Tracy, and so yeah, it was great. It's something we don't get to do, to travel. There's one of our alums is in Bozeman and is a graduate of Montana State as well as Bryant, and he was one that originally called and said go play a game, and I met Bob for the first time, and he was wonderful. So no, I'm telling you, you couldn't have scripted a better trip, other than the game itself. We would have liked to have won.
27-24, Coach. Now that it's Monday, you've had about a day and a half to digest kind of think what happened in the game. Thoughts on overall just how your team performed?
I thought the team performed fabulous. I really did. That's a good football team, and they're at the top of the 1AA world. They won national championships there, and been in the playoffs a whole bunch of times recently, and so we knew it was a big step up in competition levels. I thought our kids, even in an adverse circumstance, even when some calls went against us, even when the crowd was against us, even when we were backed up, even when we were down in the game, boy, they never stopped. Our kids, we never got our dauber down. We played and competed. I was thrilled. I should have coached better, but I have no regret with what our kids did on Saturday.
18,800 fans. It was loud. It was really gold there. What kind of atmosphere was that like for you? How great of a chance for you guys to play in an atmosphere like that?
Probably one of the more interesting questions you've ever asked, and I'll tell you why. I've called plays now in the biggest stadiums in the world. I've called plays in front of 100,000 people at Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State, on the staffs at, when I was at Iowa State, we played Texas and Nebraska and Oklahoma, in those venues. And so I've been in great college venues. I also was a high school coach and coached at Western New Mexico University in front of about 300 people in 4 cows. So, I've been at all the ends of the spectrum, and I always felt like calling plays is the same. It's 11 and you're looking for geometric progressions, you're looking for certain things to call your plays. And how many plays you can teach, that may change based on how much time you have with the kids, etc. But the calling of the football plays is not the same. This was out of the norm for our kids. We've been in this kind of circumstance before. Liberty was very much like this. Coastal Carolina is similar. Stony Brook was similar by volume, not quite as big. But I thought this was an exciting place to play. I think our kids really rose to that occasion. I think it was great for a lot of people that were there to see what high-end 1AA football really looks like, and feels like, and tastes like. And in that regard, I thought it was great. I thought it was terrific.
We'll take a more in-depth look at the game in just a few minutes. But Coach, one more thing before we end our first segment. Was there anything that changed or anything that you liked better than you thought you would when you watched the film from the game?
We're talking football X's and O's stuff.
Yes.
Changed or liked better. Every time you watch the film, it's very revealing. And there were a lot of things on the film that you'd say, ooh, I should have gone back to this. But those are second guesses. We can justify what we did prior to what we did it instead of post when we did it. We have those conversations. We do the planning and the prep. And we know why we're calling certain things, and it doesn't always work. They defended us completely different than how they defended Idaho the week before. You only had one game of research. And so we went in with a plan. After the first 2 drives of the game, we had 2 great drives, kicked a field goal on one, got a penalty on the second one, and threw us out of kilter, but 2 great drives to start the game. But by the beginning of the second drive, we changed everything we were doing. There were more cross-outs on the game plan and more, okay, guys, remember this play from 2 weeks ago, remember this in training camp and this in training camp. So in that regard, offensively, I thought, the kids did a great job of adjusting, and we didn't have that many mistakes because of it. And they really were in a competitive spirit. They didn't let the size and the moment get too big for them. Happened a couple of times in the course of the day, but not very often. And for the most part, when we needed to make a play, we made really good plays. We had a couple of 4th down conversions. We had a couple of scramble drills and throw it over their heads. So we did some things well. I thought defensively, the most impressive thing we did was up front. If you were on the field and saw the size of their offensive line, their left guarder, 73 or
Flynn, yep.
He came over to me after the game to shake my hand. First of all, I'm not sure I got my hand back yet. He's the size of Man Mountain Dean. He looks like a Big 12 offensive lineman. He's what I coached in previous lives. And then I'm walking off talking to some of our guys, and the size of those kids. So our defensive front did as good a job of being tough and competitive and playing with tenacity, competing, and never letting their topper down and holding up in so many ways. I was thrilled for those guys. I thought there were some terrific things. I think Benyor Jones and Denny Dornbus and those guys did a great job with their kids.
Talking about the Bulldogs lost to Montana State 27-24 on Saturday. When we come back, we'll talk more about the game, or look at some individual performances, and then at the end of our show, we'll talk about this week's opponent, the Brown Bears, coming to town on Saturday for a big game at Bulldog Stadium. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock. This is the Marty Fine Coaches Show on ON 1240 and the Bryant Sports Network. Montana State individually. We'll start on offense. Dalton Easton completed 26 passes, a program record 368 yards, 2 touchdowns. Maybe a little bit about his performance. Did throw 3 interceptions.
Well, he did. On one of the interceptions, he's trying to throw it away and gets hit as he throws it. could have gotten it out of his hand a little faster. When you're the quarterback, you're going to be second guessing. We can sit here and talk about the right guard and the 3 plays he missed too. I mean, but when you decide to play quarterback, you're going to take the brunt of the criticism, and I think he understands it. He's been around a long time. I thought in general he played terrific. I think the 2 of the interceptions, there's nothing. He could have thrown one a little earlier. The second one, there's a missed route. He throws a good ball in the window. We get knocked off course by one of their defenders. But the third one is the one everybody's talking about. Clearly there's 4 minutes left in the game or less. We're on the 20-yard line on the right hash. We're down 3 in field goal range. Ricky's had a terrific day kicking the ball. And so you feel like at that point we have to keep trying to get first downs. You don't want to just stop playing. We weren't running the ball particularly efficiently. We called things to stay to the right part of the field. His eyes went the right way. He just gambled. We were behind the corner. Taylor Barthollet was running the route. He's our best player. We threw one up, and in the 50-50 jump ball, they won. And that's a shame. If you could do it over again, you'd throw that ball out of bounds, come back for the next play, and just keep playing. But it's a competitive circumstance. You're going to take some chances. You're going to throw up some jump balls. So we're our best guy. And most of the time, we win those. And when we do, everybody says, "Hey, we're heroes." And when you don't, you got to take the heat with the criticism as well. So it's my call. I coach him. I'm not pointing the finger at Dalton in any way, shape, or form. He played terrific. We put a lot on his plate. He made great throws during the course of the day, or we wouldn't even be in that circumstance. He throws a seam ball early in the game that gets running out of there, and he throws a post on a 88 combination, which is a touchdown. And he throws a great 4th and 3 under duress. He gets hit just as he throws the ball on a hot read. So he did a lot of terrific things. But you point at that last play and you say, "Oops, I wish we could have."
His composure in the first 2 games of the season, his ability to get out of the pocket, get away from pressure, and still make plays has really stuck out to me. Is that something that you've seen as well that's improved?
So. That's the maturity of not looking down at a rush, keeping your eyes down the field, moving with the intent to throw instead of the intent to run. He has run the ball and got a couple of critical first downs for us, 1 in each game. That was really good, which he hadn't done as much of in the past. So, no, you could see how much better he is than what he was. When you play that position, you got to have a little bit of a gunslinger mentality. You're going to throw the ball into some traffic, and you have to be willing to at times. And he does. But in general, when we got guys open, he was terrific with the ball. I don't know how many passes he completed, but he had 2 or 3 drops. He had a handful that he threw away on purpose when we call something that's into the wrong coverage. And then he had a whole bunch of completions. So, I mean, he was pretty good.
He completed passes to 10 different players, which is something you don't really see much in this offense, at least in my 6 years here. Usually 5 or 6, 7, 8 guys, but 10 guys, a lot. You had 2 tight ends catch balls. I think 2 of your running backs caught, 4 or 5 receivers had catches in the game. Taylor Barthollet had 8 for 161. He was named
a pretty good day.
NEC Offensive Player of the Week for his performance.
I didn't know that.
2 games in a row. First player in school history to have back-to-back 100-yard games to open the season.
Didn't know that either. You're a fount of information.
I am.
Just a wealth of knowledge just spewing out of you today.
I'm good at some things, but not good at other things.
You're climbing rocks. But that's okay. We won't hold that against you.
Is there something that he has done better?
Well, let's go back to one of the concerns going into the game. We had a bunch of goals going into the game. We thought if we did some things, we'd give ourselves a chance to win. One is we need to control the clock. We had a 33 and a half minutes, so we checked that one. 2, we need to create big plays. We weren't going to drive the ball at these guys with their size and their tenacity and their ability. And we created big plays. When they blitzed, we were able to get it out, protect it reasonably well, and hit guys in seams. 3, we wanted to average more yards per play. We did that. We outgained them by some yards. We had more plays than them, which we wanted to keep our defense off the field, which helped that defense play harder when they were out there. So there were a lot of positives. Too many penalties. We had 8 penalties. A couple of tough calls, very honestly, but we had 8 penalties, and we had 5 turnovers. We snapped one through the punter's legs. We blow a route and throw ourselves into an interception. We have a fumble at the tailback spot, something on a play we've run 8,000 times. A little power play going through it, and we just drift off a path and the ball hits a hip. So 3 of them, and the 4th one is we're throwing it out of bounds, and we get hit as we throw it, and the ball comes up short, and the corner jumps up and catches it. So none of them are excusable, but we can't have that many turnovers in that many different areas and win big games. And we didn't create any turnovers, which which you're going to have to do to create a short field, we were able to drive the ball and control the ball for long periods of time. Defensively, we had several 3-and-outs, which is terrific. We started the game to fun, which was fabulous. They ran some fake punts. One they got, one we tackled. Danny Hughes tackled a fake field goal. Did a great job on it. So there were a lot of highlights. We just didn't finish it well enough. Too many penalties, too many mistakes as a team.
Gene Constant, a real bright spot for the team. He had not caught a ball before, 4 catches, 99 yards. He had a 40-yard touchdown catch.
See, if I was a stats guy, I'd have given him 100 yards. There has to be another
I
yard.
know,
Did you go back and look carefully?
I did.
No, you didn't. I to the radio audience.
I know I
TV
did.
audience.
I did. I wanted him to have one more yard. But he had a 40-yard touchdown catch that made it 27-24. And then, very next play, you guys onside kick, and he's right there to recover it on the onside
Yeah,
kick.
the touchdown was really an interesting thing because a couple plays before that, we had thrown a deep ball to the tight end. I don't know if you remember that.
Yep, to Joe Fine up the middle.
Yeah.
Probably got hit hard.
Yeah, boy, he has his dad's hands. It was a great. Anyway, Joey runs a route, and he gets over the top of the linebacker, and we're running 4 verticals, and then we fire the ball in there. He catches it. Just as he catches it, he gets hit by the safety. Gets hit right on the hip, holds onto the ball, gets a big first down. We were off the sticks at the time, and we get some momentum going. And then on a 3rd down call, I don't get the call right. We use a timeout, go for it on 4th down, and Gina's in the game, and they full blitz us, and he sees it's a hot, breaks off the route, runs to the empty spot, and catches it. When the safety hit Joe, he goes limping off the field with his shoulder. I don't know if you saw that.
I did.
They put him back in after the timeout on the 4th down play because he's their starting safety. And when he comes up to tackle Gene, he can't get him down for him. So the one play leads to the next, and that's how football is. It's all interacted. It's all connected, and you don't even realize that about 2/3 of the time. And so, and Gene gets past him and gets,
Scoots.
oh boy, does he scoot. Quick little fella, isn't he?
Yeah, he sure is.
Yeah, it reminds me of me in my old days.
But then-
that's a joke. You can laugh at that too.
The very next play, onside kick, Ricky Perez. I mean, you can't ask for a better onside kick.
Ricky had a terrific day. We missed him, obviously, in the opener when he was nicked up and couldn't play. And then he came out in this game and he kicked off great.
51-yard field goal.
Hit a 51-yard field goal.
Program record.
Yeah, that's far.
It's hard.
That's far.
And he has some left in him.
Well, and the altitude helps a little bit, I think, because all the kicks from both teams. I mean, we hit
A lot
a
of
punt.
hang time.
Oh yeah. I mean, it really hurt our kick return team. We weren't used to waiting that long to get going. We felt pressured, rushed. They got so much depth because the ball was in the air longer than we used to. And it doesn't sound like much, but if it's 2 or 3 tenths of a second, if instead of a 3.6, it's a 3.9. That's a huge difference to get. And so we got segmented. We left too early, and we were too far from the returner. And you can only block a guy for a second. After that, he gets off the block. And if you're too far away from the ball when you're blocking people, the timing is bad, and they get off and they tackle us. And that happened 3 or 4 different times. And it's hard to tell them, slow down. Those guys are raring to go and want to go. And, Jake Wiswell's out there knocking guys' helmets off. And, but we got segmented because of our anxiousness. And so we'll learn from it, and we'll be better because of it.
The defense played outstanding, held it under 300 yards.
Yep.
They only had one scoring drive. It was 7 plays, I think, 77 yards. Their other 3 scores was they started on your 22, on your 9, and on your 1. Outside of that, I mean, the numbers are skewed a little bit, but your defense played extremely well.
Extremely well. I thought they were terrific. They played into what our strengths are a little bit. When you look at Marquise Watson and Kevin Lazo on one side, and Dylan Guthrow and Andrew Barton and Anthony DiMatteo outside, our defensive line is really coming on, and we're big and we're athletic and we're tough. And if those guys can keep doing what we're doing, because this will be a huge challenge this week. Now, this Brown group coming in, they're really long and really big, just like Montana State was. We're going to change our front. We were a little bit too predictable last week, so we're going to change up our fronts, go back to a little bit more what we did in the first game, what we had done more of in training camp, more 3 downs, more movement, because I don't think we'll just be able to line up and hold up against Brown. They run it too well with all their power plays and counter plays. We had trouble tackling their big back last year. I mean, he drug us a bunch of times, if you remember. So we're worried about the size and the power this week, but if we keep getting better when we get in our league and everything gets a little more equitable, I think our D-line will hold up really well.
Charles Wingate, I thought, played one of the best games I've seen in a couple of years. He was active. He covered well. He made 3 or 4 great open field tackles.
He did. He's a really good football player, so that one doesn't surprise us. I was actually shocked you asked that question. That's what we expect from him. mean, they throw a curl, he dives around a guy and knocks it down, which is
That's 2 weeks in a row he's done that.
Which wasn't just a good play. I mean, most guys have to grab you to do that. He goes right around with the left hand, which is hard to do. So he does a lot of little things really, really well. And came close on one of those passes that got in. He was awfully close. It's a game of inches, and in this one they had a couple more inches than us.
Before we take our next break and get on to Brown, I just wanted to ask your thoughts, Coach, on things that you've seen from your team in the first 2 games. I know there's some changes, some new guys, some new schemes, some whatnot. As your team from game 1 to game 2, kind of on the way you want them to be? Are they making the progressions? Are you seeing the improvements you want to see?
I did. Some of it's a little hard to judge. If you're in a 1A conference and you're playing like opponents every week, so far we played a Division II school that we were honestly a little better than. Then we played a 1AA school that honestly we're not as good as. So it's hard to judge how much better some of our guys played. It just is. It's facing you and then facing Nolan Ryan. I could get better, but the competition got better too. And so when you take into account how good the Montana State players were and the circumstance and elevation and all those things, you said before we threw it to 10 different guys. Yeah, our guys in the first half were already cramping. We had 12 guys cramp. That's more than unusual for us. We're fit. But we had a lot of guys run out of gas on this one, so we had to play more bodies.
You stuck to your guns with that too. You stuck to your guns about playing more guys early on in the season.
We did. We have played more guys, and we're going to have to. It's too long a season not to. It's come back to bite us. We have to be able to find ways to create more depth, and so we played 7 or 8 offensive linemen again, and we're going to continue to keep trying to do that.
Bulldogs host Brown on Saturday at 1 o'clock at Bulldogs. Saturday. 1 o'clock.
Don't come up
Bulldogs
there on
Stadium.
Sunday. It'll be very quiet.
Be a
but
JV game.
Saturday will be very loud.
Yes, it's going to be an awesome atmosphere.
It'll be a terrific atmosphere.
We'll talk about that game when we come back. This is the Marty Fine Coaches Show on 1240 in the Bryant Sports Network. Show Blackie's Bulldog Tavern in Smithfield. Be sure to come out every Monday during the football season and join Coach and I. Great atmosphere here.
How good is the food tonight?
It's really good.
Did you eat some of the buffalo one?
I did.
Boy, is it good.
Yeah, they had those with the bone in last week. They have them boneless this week. I like the boneless better.
I did the boneless because I can use a fork and I don't get all messy.
Exactly.
But the other ones have some kind of Asian glaze on them or something.
I think it is an Asian glaze.
Boy, are they good.
They are good.
Wow. Addictive.
Very addictive.
Almost as good as the coffee I drink, but addictive.
I'm glad I worked out earlier today because it's not going to happen later.
I didn't get to work out yet today, but now it's not going to happen later either.
Coach,
hey, let's talk about something that matters.
You got the Bears this weekend. You beat them last year, 20-16 down in Providence. Big win for the program.
Why did we win last year?
Brown turned the ball over 5 times.
What happened last weekend?
Turned the ball over 5 times.
Shocking similarity to that,
funny
isn't
game.
It? It's a funny game. More football games at our level, college football, are lost than are ever won. And that's really the truth of the matter. When you go back through it, if you have more penalties and more turnovers, your chances of winning are not very good. That's really, people don't want to say the officials have an effect on the game, and they don't in that regard. But but their calls do, and they did last weekend. I can promise you that. And so you have to maintain your poise and composure. You have to play a certain way. You have to understand what they're going to call and what they're not, because playing the game matters. And for us, we won last year because it was our third game. It was their first game, and they made first game mistakes like we made against Maryland. And so we have to take advantage of every mistake that they make, and we have to try and force some without pressure. And we have to know that they're going to have really good players. But our advantage is we've played a lot already. We should be able to go out there and execute things with fewer mistakes than we made the first two games. Their advantage is they have 2 games of film of us, so they know exactly what we are and how to prepare for our personnel. We don't have anything on them. This is their first game.
They're going to have a new quarterback, new running back.
They're going to have a new everything for all we know. They could change schemes. They could do, they have a chance to set the matchups in their favor. It's like in hockey. They have the last line change on every play. They could say we want to get this receiver on this DB. They could say we want to get this DB on this receiver. And we can't do it. We don't have a jersey number. We don't know anything about them. So they have a huge advantage in preparation. They have 2 full games from this year to study. We have an advantage in experience. We've played 2 games and they have not. Last year that worked in our benefit. But it took us a quarter and a half before we could figure out what they were doing and how to attack it. You hope it doesn't take us that long this year.
Coach, last year they ran the ball hard, big offensive linemen, just a good, strong, built
They were
team.
really well coached, big, strong, physical, smart football team. They are a really good football team, and they will year in and year out compete for championships in their league because of how well coached they are.
How, for me, I'm going to say great is it to have this game being played every year. You played last year, you played again this year, 3rd time in 4 years.
I think it's terrific. Every way you could imagine it, it's good. It's good for everybody. It's good for the community. It's good for every high school coach and every high school player in the state of Rhode Island should come to the game. It's great for all the local businesses. It's great for the budgets. You travel. It's 11 miles away. You're not going to hotels and eating meals and flying to Montana. So everything about it is terrific. It's 2 very academic institutions. It's very similar players. Theirs are a little longer than ours. We're trying to catch up to them in that regard. They have a little bit of a head start. They played football for 100 and some years. We played for 20. But we are closing that gap. Again, we beat them last year. They beat us the first time. Like you beat your little brother. But last year we got them. We got them because of the turnovers. And they were unforced turnovers. They were in motion. They snapped the ball and hit the fullback with the ones that snapped over. The quarterbacks had ones. Threw an interception. Brandon and necessarily a great play at the end of the game. We made some plays and forced some turnovers. They had some self-inflicted wounds as well. So you don't want to go in a game and count on that. But in the end, in this game, the team that makes the fewest mistakes and the team that could get the best matchups, that team has a real advantage in winning the game.
It's Brown Week, Coach. They call it Cat Grizz Week out in Montana for Montana State and Montana, but I guess you can call it Brown Week. You got the Bears coming to the town.
Yeah, but what happened? They call it Cat Grizz. That's both schools.
Yeah.
What happened to the Bull Brown?
Bull
Where's
Brown?
that part of that?
You can call it Bull Brown.
Hey, don't leave me out.
No, all right.
We pay you. They don't pay you. It's Bryant Bulldog and Brown Week.
Yeah, well, for them it'd be Bryant Week, and this week for us it'd be
Well,
Brown.
how come they got 2 names in Montana? Why are they better than us?
I don't know. I guess the rivalry is longer.
The rivalry is longer. That's probably true, isn't it?
They've been playing football a long time. You think 113 years is long for Montana State? Brown, I think, is their 131st season, I think, this year?
Is that what it is?
136th, 39th.
Wow. We got hand signals. We got
Yeah.
100 of the people in the bar are looking at you like you're half crazy. You 2 boys are waving at each other like I'm not saying on the radio.
139. 139 years of football.
That's terrific, isn't it?
1 o'clock kickoff, Coach. You excited?
Not yet. Let's not lie about it. The travel takes a lot out of you. I mean, we got back at 5:17 in the morning on Sunday morning. Went home for a couple hours. Came back to work. Had to do all the equipment stuff first. Then we had to watch the film of that and then start working on Brown. And then we were back in early this morning. Gave our players Sunday off because they were that was a long trip home after a game that was that hard. We had guys cramping up. You were asleep the whole time, but we had guys cramping all over the plane in the back. We were making ice bags out of what are they called, little things you throw up in?
Oh, yeah.
The little bags that are in the thing. We're pouring ice in them and putting on people's hamstrings, and you didn't even know any of that. See, that's because I'm subtle.
I fell asleep.
you slept, like if the plane went down, you wouldn't have woke up. But it was a tough trip home for the kids, and so we had to give them some downtime and get them some treatment and get them flexed and loosened up and all those things, and then our first practice will be tomorrow morning, and hopefully in the next 3 days we'll get ourselves ready to go for it.
Bulldogs and Bears this weekend at Bulldog Stadium. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock. Join us live here on ON 1240 and also watch live on NECUfrontrow.com. This has been the Marty Fine Coaches Show. Join us next week.
That's it?
Yep, that's it.
That was it.
That's it.
That went too fast.
You did great.
I want to do it again.
Join us next Monday. We could do it again next Monday.
After
5:30.
victory.
5:30 here at Blackie's Bulldog Tavern. Coach, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
This has been the Marty Fine Coaches Show on ON 1240.